All right, it's in between. We're going to start off. Richard has a story that I kind of mentioned it to him that I'd love to talk about it because I so rarely look at Facebook anymore. My reasons for getting to Facebook usually center around what the three of us do. I like it, Sean. Nice. That's funny. But I'm usually there to check the Minute of the Apes stuff or my band's page or something like that. And when I did, I see my friend Richard has posted something that happened in his store. Was it yesterday, Richard?
It was yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was an angry post. And it's one of those things where you shouldn't necessarily lash out about customers or situations.
And then rewrite it. Yeah.
You should put in a show called The Variants, and that's what you should do. You shouldn't actually post about terrible things that happen in your store.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of enraged, and maybe I can kind of inspire people to do the right thing and not the wrong thing. So basically the story is, I pull customers that come in all the time, and it's not uncommon to come in to get your subscription, to browse the wall, pick up some new things, come and have a conversation at the counter. That's not unusual, right? Today, because of COVID, we're all wearing masks, wiping down surfaces. I have a very small plexiglass thing on one side of the surface.
Make sure people stay distance in your store.
May I interrupt you just to say, for those people that are brand new to this, Richard owns a wonderful comic book store in Dallas called Zeus Comics. If you need things to this point and where this story is going to go, Richard can get things and send them to you, ZeusComics.com. Go there, support our friend, support his independently owned business.
Except just the fact that I'm going to talk bad about somebody that came in yesterday.
Yeah, don't be the following customer.
Don't be the following customer.
If you can go ahead now.
Real quick, it's going in
I
between raining and snowing. It's going
is?
In between raining and snowing down here.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah.
The winter apocalypse has begun.
Starting to happen. All right, anyway.
So there's also a credit card device that I have that it's a square device, and when somebody wants to use their card, basically they insert the card into this device.
Why does shape matter?
Sean, this is. If I could mute your microphone with the limited setup we have, I'd mute you right now.
But so the device doesn't get stolen because it's a $400 device. When the customer presents a card, I hold the device out. They insert the card themselves. When the transaction's done, they pull the card out. It's over. But I keep the device behind the counter. And some people, when they put the device in, they will touch the device just because it helps them stable it when they put their card in. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to make it as contactless as possible, right? I mean, I interact with a lot of people during the day. As frequently as I wash my hands, use hand sanitizer, I can't necessarily go back to back from cash to card to this to that and be secure. So I try not to touch the customer's card. I try not to do anything that would pass anything that I have along. Now, we're learning more about surfaces and COVID as time goes on, but right now that's what we're doing for safety. So yesterday, just the typical transaction. Customer comes in, asks for his pull box. I give him his pull box. He walks around, gets some stuff on the wall. This week happened to be a very large number of books for Marvel. They had one of their books had 40 different covers.
I know, and I cannot believe you ordered all of them. Holy crap.
I ordered a few of them. I've sold us. It's fine. It's fine.
Few.
Anyway, so this gentleman comes to the counter and starts asking me about what is Marvel doing? What's all this stuff? What's going on? And we probably have a good 5, 6, 7 minute conversation, which is not out of the ordinary. Goes back, does some more shopping along the wall, then comes back and checks out. So he hands me his comic books. I scan all of his comic books. I put them in the bag. I hand the credit card machine over. He's got his bag. He puts the card in. It beeps. The transaction is done. He pulls the card out. And he says to me, almost as he's walking out the door, so there's not a lot of time, he goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm COVID positive. You might want to wash that off." And then I look at him and I'm like, flabbergasted. I'm like, we'll get better. And then he just walks out the door. I was speechless. There was no time. He didn't announce this when he came into the store. He mentioned it on the way out. Mm-hmm. I was pissed. You should not. If you were out, you should not. If you were COVID positive, be out. You should be in quarantine. I had one customer that was COVID positive, and he said, "I just need to get in my car and drive." So here's what we did. He'd call me. I took his card over the phone. He'd pull up outside, well away from the door of the store. I would take his comic books. I would set them outside, off away from the door of the store. When I came back inside, he would come out and get his comic books and then leave. We were wearing masks, all that kind of stuff. That is the only interaction I've had with somebody positive that told me they were positive, and we did everything. If I was uncomfortable, I would have told them I was uncomfortable, right? I had that option. This gentleman did not give me that option. This gentleman did not give me the option of saying, hey, you know what? Let's take all these precautions. Hey, I've got customers in the store. It doesn't matter that he was wearing a mask and I was wearing a mask and I was behind a little bit of plexiglass. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that he's out putting people at risk without their knowledge.
So I don't want to be Daddy Todd lecturing anybody. What I'm going to say, that is not my intent. I'm going to ask of the populace out there to think about things. Yes, I know that the argument can be made for the number of deaths and the number of infections being a small portion. You can make that argument, and you're probably not incorrect, except that you're not thinking of the totality of what you're thinking. We have something going on where I want you to think about this. If you are that one person that walks in and infects, if you infect my friend and my friend ends up being the one that dies, you're indirectly responsible for that. Just be safe. Be smart. You don't have to go out and do this. There are so many things, like Richard said, where you can call ahead. People will bring food to your car. People will bring things like that. He's right to have told you he's COVID positive. There's one right step. But at that point, take the next right step, which is, I'm not going to go in. How many people do you think were in the store at that time, Richard?
When he first came in the store, there was 3 or 4 people. By the time he left, it happened to be a lull, and there was nobody else in the store.
Well, that's good.
It was just, at that particular moment, it was just me and him. But when he first came in, there were 3 or 4 other people in the store. So the thing is, it's like we're at the point now where the number of people that are asymptomatic that are carrying the disease or don't even realize they have small symptoms that are contagious. It's all around. Everything is a risk.
Or they might not have the symptoms yet, and they are contagious.
But that's just it. It's all around us, right? We're all taking the precautions we can. But to knowingly, willfully go out and put other people at risk is irresponsible.
Yes.
It's dangerous. It is a risk not worth taking. It didn't give me the option of deciding whether I wanted to engage with you or not.
And you're saying that your desires, your needs, your life is more important than the rest of the people you put at risk, because you don't know that one person you're going to get in touch with is not a person that can die from. You don't know that. And are you okay getting in your car if someone said right now, by the way, when you get in this car today, you're going to kill someone. You can either stay home or you can go kill someone. Would you do it? No, none of us would do that. You're taking the same risk, and it's not cool.
The weird thing is,
for all we know, he went to the grocery store.
Yeah.
For all we know, he went to get gas. For all we know, he did some more shopping and picked some errand stuff. I have one of my employees has a very serious thyroid condition, and she is part of the population that needs to be extra cautious about exposure to COVID. And he was walking in there, maybe not even aware of the fact that she was at higher risk than I am,
right,
for this infection. And it's just it's dangerous. It's very upsetting. It was very, very upsetting.
The weird thing is, it feels almost like we're living in an urban legend. Do you remember the whole "Welcome to the Wonderful World of AIDS" or whatever? It's somebody being willfully irresponsible, knowing that they can be a vector to hurt other people, and not being responsible for themselves. It's people that claim my rights, but rights come with responsibilities. So yeah, you have a right to go outside and do, what you need to do, but you also have a responsibility to make sure that you're safe while you're doing it.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not like he has an excuse. I mean, he's got a family around him who, depending upon their status, could potentially do these errands.
They could have done it. Yeah.
I ship comic books. I do curbside
People
delivery.
drive it.
There's
comic
a lot
books
of
to people.
There's a lot of options that could have kept him from just walking around the store around people and around me, particularly without telling me. It's let me make that decision.
Or start off the conversation with, I have COVID. I apologize. How can I be safe and do the business that I want to do?
Can I shop? What do I do?
And that's where you go, yeah, here's what would you like? I will pull them for you and give them to you.
He was touching surfaces inside the store, right? Yeah. He was walking around and picking up comic books and product and touching shelves.
And looking at them and potentially putting them back. Yeah.
I immediately had to wipe down the device. I had to wipe down the counter. I had to wipe down the door handles. I had to walk around and try and figure out if he touched any particular comic books. And it's a level that we were all kind of doing normally, but at least I knew to do it now. I mean,
Well, it all brings to mind that during the ramp up to the Christmas holidays, I am somebody that has had COVID. I've survived it. My wife and I and my daughter all have been tested because my wife works in the healthcare thing. We've been tested for antibodies. We've done that whole contribution to help out. So I'm not saying I feel safe, but I at least there is a level of which whenever you've had it, you're kind of like, okay, as of right now, they're telling me I have the antibodies. I'm pretty safe. So when needing to run an errand, I'm not as immediately concerned.
But you still wear a mask.
I wear my mask. I do all that. My level of concern rises when I had to run an errand for Christmas, and I go into a hardware store, and right away, luckily they've got plexiglass up everywhere. There are signs for social distancing, the little areas on the ground where they're telling you to stand 6 feet apart, except for the two dipshits in front of me. One is a woman who's not even wearing a mask. Number one, store, why didn't you keep her from coming in?
Yeah.
Number two, then the other guy has his mask down here, and in the
store's defense, she could have worn a mask when she walked in and then took it off.
Fine, but that doesn't hold up when I tell you the rest of the story, too.
Okay.
Right. I'm standing there, and he looks back at her and goes, man, at least you're expressing your freedom. And I hear this entire conversation. And she's like, well, I'm from Arizona, and we're laughing at you guys for wearing these masks. It's stupid. Nothing's going on. This is nothing worse than the flu. I'm listening to this entire conversation. The cashier behind the counter is wearing a mask, and she steps back. And you can tell she's offended, bothered, scared. And they continue, they continue on until finally I get up, and I had placed an order online, so I don't have to touch anything other than what's given to me. And when she said, I'm sorry, I may have offended you with, I know I was making faces at them. And I was like, you didn't offend me at all. And she said, it's just that my brother-in-law had quadruple bypass, and I have to work to pay for things to help my sister, and I go over there every day to take care of him. I can't afford to be exposed to people that can make me take this home. And that's where the lack of concern just levels me. These people that aren't considering what it is when you step in, you could be exposing someone to.
It's I think what, now having known multiple people that have recovered from COVID or had COVID or recovered from COVID, and having friends who have people that have lost to COVID, it's the risk, it's the gamble. What gamble are you willing to take, and who are you willing to affect by that? And some of these people that are cavalier about it may have not had a bad experience with COVID. They may have not had somebody in their lives die or get hospitalized or have not recovered. I have athletes right now in my CrossFit class that have recovered from the 2-week COVID, still have no lung capacity, and it's 4 months later. They can barely work. They can work out, but they're winded in seconds. Two of them. We're talking like 4 to 6 months after this entire thing, and they have not even fully recovered yet from this.
It took 3 months.
Had another athlete who had it for 2 days, and they had no symptoms. Had it for like that 2 weeks, had no symptoms. Came back and is killing workouts. But do you want to take that risk as an athlete? Do you want to find out that you can't run again for the rest of your life because you have no lung capacity?
I mean, to me,
or how long? For another year?
Right.
To me, it feels like there is a population of society that is, until it affects me, it's not real. So, COVID, I see it on TV. It's not real. Nobody around me has it. It's not real. Oh, no, wait, I've got it. Now it's real. Oh, everybody be careful.
I saw some. I'm sorry, Richard.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I saw a report from, it was a nurse. It may have been in Wisconsin, where she said they were showing the admittance of people and all the things, and they actually had footage from outside the curtain where somebody was in there, and they were making a, and they, of course, they didn't show the face, and she said, "I know this
that can't be real."
Yeah. She said, "I know this doesn't feel real until it happens to you." She said, but we hear time and time again, I didn't think it was going to be this bad. And as someone who's been through it, I will tell you that I'm in relatively good enough health that it didn't floor me. But what you were talking about, Richard, it took me 3 months, roughly, until I did not, going up and down the stairs to my house did not make me just go, and I would feel that. And that's kind of fucked up. That's kind of fucked that, and I basically know where I got it, and it was not, no one did it out of spite
Malice.
because it was a family member that passed it on to me. They did not look at me and think I want to. It was before